In Module 6, we will work on the issues of legislation for materials in contact with food. This is an issue of special relevance in the European Union, and that in recent years has gained great importance, since more and more controls are being carried out. There is greater emphasis on all issues related, not only with the packaging in which contains food and are made with materials suitable for it, but also with other types of utensils, such as the cutlery with which we eat, or the dishes we use to put our food. To address this issue, the first thing we must know is the framework regulation for this, which is Regulation 1935 of 2004. This regulation focused in 2004, almost 20 years ago, on developing some key criteria or fundamental elements that all materials have to be considered. It is very important that we keep in mind that we are talking about materials in contact with food, that we do not only associate it with plastic, but that there is a group of 17 materials that can range from plastic, paper, cardboard, wood, glass. That is, all materials that in one way or another can be used or can be in contact with food. Well, these materials must meet three key aspects. On the one hand, they must be materials that are authorized. On the other hand, they must be materials that will not lead to a modification of the characteristics of the food product and that will not lead to an organoleptic alteration of the food product. If these elements are met, then we are starting from a material that is suitable for contact with food. In addition to this framework regulation, another of the provisions that we will work on in the module is related to good manufacturing practices in this type of materials. In this case, we address Regulation 2023 of 2006. In this regulation, what is asked of the operator is that it is necessary to develop and take into account good manufacturing practices for these materials. In this regulation, what is asked of the operator is that it is necessary to develop and take into account good manufacturing practices for these materials. With these two provisions, we have made a lot of progress in this matter, and today they are basic elements for this topic. A different issue is that it is necessary for Regulation 1935 to be developed further, and that is something that we will also see in the module. Another aspect that is also very, very important in this topic is related to declarations of conformity. Here, we are proposing a situation in which what the operator is going to do is affirm or assert that his product complies with the requirements established by the regulations, and this in accordance with what is stated in Article 16 of Regulation 1935 of 2004, so that we are certain or sure that this product will not present any problem. This declaration of conformity is something that has to be handled between the different operators who work with these products. Let us keep in mind that this declaration of conformity is an obligation in which we are going to say that the operator responsible for that product attests that the product is optimal and suitable. This, on the one hand. On the other hand, what the legislation has not done is establish, let's say, a declaration of conformity model, but rather it is something that has to be developed between the different operators. Well, this Module 6 focused on materials in contact with food and allowed us to know much better the world of these materials, which is very complex in terms of the type of ingredients or the type of materials that can be used. I encourage you to enter the module, to get to know the materials that we have prepared for its development, and to delve deeper into the legislation on materials in contact with food.